Oh, hello, hello. What is up, friends? How is it going? Welcome to Dragamount. I am Thom, and I am flying solo today, because my co-hostess with the mostest, Crystal, is turning 40 today. I know she does not look it, but yes, she's turning 40, so she's out with her friends and her family enjoying her birthday shenanigans. So go over to the Dragonmount socials and wish her a happy birthday if you feel so inclined. Hello, Erosa. Hi. Not too much has happened in the last week, but before I dive into the little bit of Wheel of Time news that we have, I want to bring in my guest.
Look, here comes an awesome guest.
It's Morshadi.
Hello, how are you?
Hi, I'm fantastic. I feel better now that it's not just me, because I work so much better with people. I'm bad by myself. I need to have another personality to bounce off.
You know, that's a lot of the reason why I don't stream on my own. Because talking to a wall, I could do that at work. Which is why I prefer to do. Hey. That would be my spouse.
Yay! Hi.
Hey. Anyway, so yeah, I could do that at work, and I actually prefer it. You know, I work in IT, and so don't bother me.
Don't bother the IT guys.
Don't bother the IT guy.
Never bother the IT.
Never bother the IT guy. Hi, how you doing, everybody? I'm Morshadi, sometimes known as the fact checker Mihail Morshadi.
Over on the Black Tower.
Over on the Black Tower podcast. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what you want. How we go from here, Thom?
No, it's we're pretty loosey goosey over here for the rewatch. Yeah, we watch TV and have fun and BS.
I mean, that's
the famous Chronicle Delver.
The famous Chronicle Delver. Yes, we're not so famous just yet, but we will be soon.
Because you guys just announced a new podcast, right?
Yes. We dropped an episode last week. Our episode 0. It's not. I mean, it's the first episode, but it's episode 0. We haven't delved anywhere except for ourselves. Episode 0 was the introduction to Delving the Chronicles, a Wheel of Time podcast, which includes hosts such as Koala Sedai, Dana Liu, also known as Zool, Beth Doman, and myself. Where we are going to be delving into topics that are more on the, I don't know, just kind of like a side of Wheel of Time. They are attached to the Wheel of Time, but sometimes they're just more like a white Aja-ish, brown Aja-ish questions.
Okay.
Very maybe on the ethical side, maybe sometimes going where we don't have a lot of information. So we're just more kind of theorizing a lot of things, and attaching them to what our real world ideas are compared to what we see them and through the lens of Wheel of Time.
Okay. So how many war crimes did the three Ta'veren actually commit throughout the series?
You know, that's actually a really good idea. So I'm writing that down. War crimes
committed by the good side, the side of the light.
Is it really the good guys?
Yeah. Is it a war crime if the dragon does it?
It's true. Is it really a war crime if the dragon does it? If he breaks all bonds, then yeah. Is there any laws left? Yeah. Things like that. So
I'm sure people would use that.
Yeah, that's true. So the first episode, we're actually going to be talking about the nature of utopia in the Age of Legends.
Okay. I like that.
And also as well as things like what the definition of utopia is. Actually, it's first and second episode, I believe. But that first episode will be dropping this Sunday night, late Sunday night into Monday morning. So please follow Delving the Chronicles on all of your podcast apps. Finally on Apple Podcasts, because Apple Podcasts is a pain in my butt.
Oh God, yeah.
And for anyone who has developed a podcast, knows the pain you go through.
I only helped edit the Dragonmount podcast, but listening to Kathy's, our CEO's, adventures in getting it posted and working with the Apple podcast system, I understand ish the plight. I posted the link tree in chat though for everybody, so go and check out Morshadi's link tree. Follow him on all the socials. Put all the subscribes everywhere.
Yep. They're all in there. They're all great and all fantastically. For
Wheel of Time, if it's one power induced, if it's compulsed, it's a utopia. Don't worry.
Just a little bit of a hint when it comes to the utopia thing. If you've ever been a fan of Serenity and Firefly, Miranda.
A little bit.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, that's fair. There
you go.
So, I always imagined prior to the drilling of the bore as an actual good period. But then when you hear, by the way, hold on, before we go too far, let me throw up. I have our lovely Pride Month new logo, Pride Month, up there. But let me throw up a spoiler level for Wheel of Time. So we'll do books 1 through 10. I won't go too far. But Rand does talk about how, or Luce Theron in Rand's head talks about how they didn't have it all. You weren't all.
Yeah.
Probably was some stuff that went on, but I always imagined it as an actual good period. When fantasy and science fiction stuff, there's always something going on behind the scenes where it's really not a utopia, it's actually bad. But it seemed like that wasn't the case for the Age of Legends for the most part. But
yeah, well, and that's the thing. It's like to delve a little into it, right? Like, the idea of utopia in the Age of Legends was the fact that everyone got along into amongst that idea of the servants of all, right?
Yeah.
Like the people who had
there was no money,
most power. There was no money, but like there's the people who had the most power, right? Could take over, but they were the servants of all. So there was kind of like a reversed pyramid of might makes right.
Yeah.
Because they had the most power, they had the duty to serve everybody.
Provide the most
services. But like along with that, you like spread down over like, well, they provided like standing flows. And well, if you have standing flows, that means you could also genetically engineer Chora trees and genetically engineer your NIM with your farming implements. NIM. You can also genetically engineer your plants. And there are some disagreements, but I have been working for the longest time. Also think they have genetically engineered the IEL in the first age.
Okay.
But anyway, I digress. You would get along. You would get that theory would get along with Jansen over on Leavecast when they do their tavern talk on Sundays. Jansen, he is very much of the opinion that in the Age of Legends, the Aiel were kind of enslaved by the Aes Sedai. So that would kind of almost go hand in hand with it, like not the same but similar ideas. I think, it's not something I will have to fill it out. I have to find notes from way back in my Walkmania days, but like, my basic idea. Yeah, I know, right? You know what? The fact that we're not even going to go into it.
Yeah, I know.
We're not even going to go into it.
I get it.
The hatchet has been buried. All right, yes. The hatchet's been buried.
Yeah.
Anyway, the basic idea is that for me is in the first age is a very lawless age, and the Aiel were created as foot soldiers, genetic foot soldiers, and hence why there is now a covenant that all Aiel follow in the second age, and they are all dedicated to peace. That is now lost to time, just like Aiel's history now is lost to time.
Yeah.
But like that is why now is there, and that's why they're beholden to the Aes Sedai, because the Aes Sedai of that time did that to them, and they are now beholden to, as well as the rest of society. Like they're like babies, right? But they're also integral to society. Anyway, there's a lot more to it. I have like little
Well,
tidbits everywhere.
obviously we have to watch. We have to listen to the podcast episode to get the rest.
Exactly. I will be presenting this case in a later episode, and my fellow co-hosts will tear it apart, and I will hold on to this with a tight fist forever and ever until I die, and somehow meet Robert Jordan in the afterlife and be like, "Is this true?" And he'll be like, "Reborn and find out."
Yeah. There you go. Yeah.
And I'll be like,
wait till the next turning of the wheel when I write the books again.
Yeah, that bastard. Anyway.
Yeah, no, I like that. So yeah, make sure to go listen to Beth and Koala and Shadi and Dana Lou on Delving the Chronicles, and I posted the link tree, and there's links to all his stuff in there.
Yep.
So the Wheel of Time news this week, be it whatever, like other than, nothing can really outshadow a brand new podcast with fantastic people on it. But the only other Wheel of Time news that we had this weekend was that's worth talking about, to be honest, because actually, you guys won't be able to see it. Let's go back. Okay, there you go.
There you go.
Was this article that popped up for Variety? The other ones were just opinion pieces, similar to the ones that we went over last week. That was just talking about what you might see, but it was all rehashings of more. You're going to see more Uno, which I'm sure we will.
Yeah.
Just to see what you think about it while I cue this up. What do you think about the idea of Uno kind of taking the place, not the place of, but added to Perrin's journeys through the Wolf Dream and kind of helping the teaching process along in the sense of they're not going to have the wolf talk to him directly, with words. So Uno's going to kind of fill the role of teacher for Perrin in the Wolf Dream. That's my thought on how he's going to, what they're going to use him.
So if Uno and Guy Roberts continues on each season as his character in the dream, it does impact some things based on the story itself, right?
Yeah.
It opens up some things as well. Later on, it actually could work in there, but from a visual storytelling standpoint, it makes sense because we know that leads us into a character that we know already, that we have an established relationship with from the seasons 1 and 2, that is now dead, right? And that we can do anything with, and he and since we know that he then can establish what the rules are in Teleparty Riyadh, and he's also funny, and he's an amazing actor and everything. So cool. And then third, visually, the wolf stuff doesn't work on television.
I always felt my hope the whole time was that they weren't going to do what was the third Look Who's Talking called? I think Look Who's Talking Now, it was called. The one where, the John Travolta where the babies are talking.
Yeah.
The one where they had the pets doing it. I was I really hope it's not like that.
And that's the thing, is you can still have some Hopper stuff. Hopper's always going to be there.
He could be there with Uno.
A familiar, and be there with every time that he goes into the dream.
Yeah.
Hopper is there protecting him, right? Just like he did in the book.
Maybe even from Uno at first,
from Uno at first, yeah. But what you do from there is you have some nonverbal interactions with Perrin.
Oh yeah, the visions. They did that beautifully. I thought they did that beautifully.
There's a moment where in Dragon Reborn or Shadow Rising? I think it was Dragon Reborn, where he takes Perrin and he has him hold on to his fur, and they go to a Forsaken meeting, right? No talking there.
Oh yeah,
no mental talking. They just
Absolutely.
go. They can do a similar thing. They can do very similar things non-verbally, and It would just work. It would work.
Yeah.
But like for an overall conversation, you are here too strongly, young bull.
Yeah.
No, you can't. You got to have the face. You got to have the face with face to face. You got to have a human. I'm sorry. Like it makes sense, and people are gonna get pissy about it. But you know what? It's honestly, it is now a Wheel of Time TV show, and it is for the people who like the Wheel of Time TV show. If you don't like the Wheel of Time TV show, fuck off. The books are there. Go do something else.
Yeah.
Like,
and I can promise the people that, like, because this is my favorite thing. This is the only thing I can actually speak with some authority on. I feel like, and it's only because I've spoken to Harriet and to Maria. Robert Jordan wouldn't hate the show. He's not turning over in his grave. It's not disrespectful of the books. It's not disrespectful of him. They've said that. I've spoken to Harriet personally on the matter, and she likes the show. She likes what they're doing with it. She understands the changes. So it's not like this terrible thing that some of the book cloaks make it out to be. And you can not like it. That's perfectly fine. I just don't like the gatekeeperness of some people where it's like, you're not a real fan if you like it, or blah, blah, blah. Trust me, I'm a real fan. I'm in the
and that's the thing.
Book.
I don't like the flip side of it either. You're not a real fan if you don't like it. Like it, don't like it.
Oh, yeah, like it, don't like it. Yeah,
don't yuck other people's yums.
No.
Like,
when people yuck other people's yums, that's when it makes me angry. That's when I get frustrated, because I don't like people shitting on other people in any way, or othering people in any way.
Yeah. Like find what makes you happy, find some happiness in whatever the corner of your internet or whatever that you find, and be happy there. But like if you're spending your time being a shitty person, shitting on other people's happiness, then what the fuck? Like find a goddamn job.
I totally agree. I don't understand. Well, why do you go to therapy if you gain enjoyment from shitting on other people?
Go to therapy.
Go to therapy for real. So this one, the only real interesting part from this article, and again, this is the Wheel of Time and Twisted Metal creatives talk about bringing the legacy franchises to TV. And there's some pretty interesting things in here talking about the books. And honestly, I watched a couple episodes of the Twisted Metal show just because I saw this article and I was like, oh yeah, I forgot that was a thing, and Anthony Mackie's in it.
Yeah.
And I like Anthony Mackie as an actor. So
apparently it was good.
It was pretty good. I was like, all right, this is kind of fun. I was like, this is kind of fun. It's very tongue-in-cheek. It is not serious at all.
Which is what exactly the game is. So
yeah, you have to be. Like, if you get try to get too serious with it, it'll be ridiculous. But the one thing that I want to point out from this article, actually two things. They talk about how the Wheel of Time, it's about the characters. Mm-hmm. It's not about the spectacle or anything like that. It's about the characters and things like that. That's the producer from Sony, actually. Sony's head creative is talking about that. This isn't even someone that works directly like on the show, like Rafe or one of the costume designers or something. So I like that's coming from the top, like the idea of having to get the characters and stuff right. I like that.
Yeah.
Then there's this quote down here. Should we be lucky enough to get 8 seasons? So in the beginning, when we first had this, we heard the number 8 seasons come up again. So I think this is kind of confirming for us that they're shooting for like an 8-season type of arc in the show, which is interesting.
This is okay. So this is what I got some flack for this. It was after season 1, before season 2 was announced, but everyone knew that season 2 had been filmed, but it hadn't been announced when it was coming out. I got some flack for this because I was doing it a little bit to be trolly, but I was also doing it in being a serious matter. It was right after Batgirl got canceled and canned and just shoved into a trash compactor and burned. And I said, paraphrasing myself, enjoy what we have now. Enjoy what's going to come out. Until it actually hits streaming, nothing is guaranteed.
Of course.
Because some bean counter out there every day is going.
Yeah, it's so shitty. The way, and I'm glad that the strikes happened the way they did. I wish they got better from it, like they got more from it. But one of the things they got from it is they're going to be redoing kind of the way they calculate ratings through streaming. Because the way they did it before, and this is so directly from Rafe, the way Amazon calculated whether or not a show did well wasn't based off of social media hits, wasn't based off of who's talking. It wasn't based off of any of that. Ratings on like Rotten Tomatoes, nothing. It was based off of how many new subscribers they got after the show dropped.
Yep.
Which is silly because it's Amazon Prime. I've had Amazon Prime since it was invented. Like there are people that have had Amazon, like you can't gauge new on a show. That's silly. And a lot of people think, and I am one of them as well, that they did it this way just to kind of be like, to have an out on something if they want and to not pay people what they really deserve. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I remember when Amazon forced me to update my password because it was only 4 letters because I had an Amazon account when Amazon first became a thing. But yeah, so I'm hoping that they come up with some way to calculate ratings and views based off of actual view time, which they can do because we know Netflix does it. Netflix they post how many hours people have streamed things. Like, Witcher has streamed for X amount of hours, blah, blah, blah. And so many people watch. So like they could do it. They just don't want to. They don't want to pay people what they're worth.
Well, and that's the thing is that like, and I have a tweet somewhere that I have all these links saved, but I found it from there's a writer by the name of Michael Jamin on TikTok, and he actually posted a couple of things a long time ago during the strike that one of the reasons that streaming services pull off shows so quickly is before the strikes, before the renegotiations. So I don't know how it's done now, but beforehand was it would stream, and how they would pay residuals was
so bad too.
Smaller in the first couple of years and more and more and more in the later years, which is the inverse
of what it usually
it usually is for TV broadcasts.
Mm-hmm.
So for them, taking a show off and canning it and putting it away in a vault is cheaper than keeping it up on streaming and letting people watch it because they're going to come and watch. Oh, I want to go watch Westworld. You cannot watch Westworld anymore.
Nope. And that's why like a lot of
on
the
HBO.
On the Max shows, you can only watch some of the newest seasons of shows. Like shows that are currently out and stuff like that.
Because if it's not available for watching, they don't have to pay the residuals for it. And it's the longer it's up, the more higher amounts they have to pay. At least that's how it used to be.
Don't even get me started about Amazon's shitty marketing for Wheel of Time. I'm so pissed. Can't even buy a T-shirt from them.
Like, swear to God, you have they would make up 40% of their goddamn budget in just merchandise.
I know.
If they put out the fucking sweater that Rand wore in season 1, the shit-ass sweater,
the fucking jacket, the jacket from the party, you can sell that for hundreds of dollars.
And everyone would buy it. Every single one of us would buy it.
And this is odd for me to say. Don't get me wrong. I won't shit on Amazon too hard about that because I don't know where the hang-up lies. So I know Sony is the one that bought up all the rights for everything years ago, like very long time ago. And then they worked with Sony for the development and the publication of the show. I don't know how much other licensing they gave to Amazon. So I don't know if Amazon can even make merchandise.
That's true. Okay, I will give them
that. If they can, and they're not, they're dumb.
Yeah, but they don't make merchandising for a lot of other things either.
Yeah, for stuff that they have completely. So yeah.
Yeah. So
that's entirely theirs.
Yeah. So it's just kind of one of those it's mind blowing that there isn't merchandise because I mean just colored T-shirts with the Aja colors and some design on it. People would buy that. Yeah, exactly. And so I just
charge $20. People buy them. That's what the flamethrower.
You know how much I would? Yeah,
the lunchbox.
I would be like rolling rings of whatever. It's flamethrower and just I toss dirt.
This is the thing that the Sharon Gillam Brown Aja costume showcase that she posted. So I'm guessing these are influences. So librarians, teachers, researchers, keepers of knowledge, color brown, theme, modest intelligence. So I guess this must be like her thinking board.
What she used.
Yeah, like for things. Yeah, okay, I can see it. Ha! That's my girl right there.
Yay, there we go.
Yeah. I'm sad. I mean, that makes me sad, but
it also makes me
sad. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I mean, yeah, you could see all of these influences from.
Yep.
From especially this one. I feel like this is like Varen's costume almost. Exactly. This one right here. Those are way too ostentatious for a brown. That red is way too crazy.
Right.
This looks like actual runway modeling. Like, is that like real
Most likely,
fashion?
yeah.
What is that, like peasant chic? I don't know. Like she's wearing like a burlap tunic. It looked like.
You've watched that. You should be of the age there. You watched I Love Lucy, right?
Oh yeah, that was my shit. Oh, here you go. There's Varen. It does look like.
Yeah. Anyway. You remember watching that episode when they were in France and the boys bought them sacks, and then like at the end of the episode, like everyone was wearing the sacks.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Peasant wear. Yeah. That's fair. That is high fashion. Yeah.
Depends on who's wearing it and how they photograph it. Yep. Yeah, she would definitely be a gray. Like her mentality would be a gray, but like I could see them using like that her fashion there for the inspiration for the browns. The grays don't get a lot of love though. They don't get the grays and the whites don't get a lot of love in the books or in the show so far.
I mean, if you look at what happened in the books, now granted, there's not a lot of negotiating you can do at the end of the world, right?
With the dark one.
With the darker one, but like they kind of sucked at their job.
I mean, the theme pretty much was throughout that the Aes Sedai were kind of too isolated. They became too xenophobic with the other channeling groups, and outside of themselves, they thought too much of themselves, and they didn't try to really make a cohesive thing. They wanted to make everyone Aes Sedai, like that all the female channelers Aes Sedai, and bring everyone under their ideas instead of adapting and like unifying and making one idea. And I think that was really the theme that brought them to where they ended up at the end without remaining too spoiler.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
But I mean, the Aes Sedai, I always liked one of the things I feel like they did poorly in the show was, I know in the books I feel like it was done better, only because it was done over a longer period, where they built the Aes Sedai up to be these like all powerful, all knowing, not just all powerful in the one power, but like holding so much political power and knowledge and intelligence and wealth and things like that. And then kind of knock them off their pedestal by being like, oh, yes, but they're wrong about all these things that they thought they were right about. And they actually have all this information that's wrong. The things that they thought of as factual are actually not factual. So like, I felt like that was so much more impactful in the books than it was in the show. But at the same time, they don't have a lot of time to do that shit. So
it's true. I think that they're going to definitely get better. Now, some people didn't like the way the trajectory of the second season went. I think it is still recovering from what ended up happening from the first season. Absolutely. You can obviously tell that Barney, it is like, Barney Gate 2020, right?
Yeah. That's a huge impact to the story. They had to rewrite, and then they had to fix it. Like they couldn't just retcon it; they had to fix it in story. Like it's a lot of work.
Yeah, and so a lot of the ending of season 2 was just taking some rebar and just like getting to everything. Now, I will say, I think that they're in a good spot to now get back into like where the story. I wouldn't say match up. They can't match it up. But like it should hit more beats of the book now.
Yeah. In fact, it's going to hit
I,
multiple beaks across multiple books, according to Rafe for next season.
And I will just say right now, and I know it's because, Rafe watches your show, and so does the rest of the team. And I know that, a couple of them are mutuals of mine on Twitter. I'm sure they're watching right now.
I wish.
I'm just telling you right now. you do my boy Perrin dirty one more time, one more season, I'm done. I'm done. Like, come
Marcus
on,
is awesome.
Next, Marcus is one of. Come on, please. I mean, I'm just saying, give that boy some meat. More than eating on watermelon slices. That's all I'm saying.
Oh yeah, that stuff that they were eating when oh god, that was so bad. It was like I've seen actors talk about when they have to eat like meat like that. It's always like this weird gelatin stuff. And when you got a close up of we're not meant, like TV shows aren't meant to be consumed one frame at a time, but we're Wheel of Time fans, and that's what we do. So
that's a TikTok. We're Wheel of Time fans. We're gonna deconstruct everything you give us.
I've been thinking about making one of those TikToks for I made one actually. I think. Yeah, I did. No, I did make one. I found a Wheel of Time book randomly in my garage, like under a pile of crap. It was a copy of New Spring, and I was like, "What is that?"
We're Wheel of Time fans.
And I was
of
like,
course, we've bought the Eye of the World 6 times and given out at least 3 of them.
Yeah, I buy every single Wheel of Time book that I find in used bookstores and give them out to people. Like when I recruit them to reading it.
Exactly.
And I always try to make sure I have the first 3. Like when I see them, I don't buy all of them. Like if I see later editions or, just regular ones, like I don't really care. The ones I really look for, like I don't have it in here right now, are like the older first editions or early printings, especially the ones that have the map printed on the inside cover.
Mm-hmm.
I'll see if I can grab one later. I have one sitting around that I found in a bookstore for like $2. Anyway.
Funnily enough, the only Wheel of Time books I have in my household are the digital stuff that I have on my computer and my phone, because that's usually the easiest way for me to like look up facts. I just be like, Josh, you're wrong. Here you go. And I toss it into his channel. That's my favorite thing to do, is to prove the BTP boys wrong all the time. It gives me like a little fuzzy, nice feeling, right?
Yeah.
And the only I meant to grab it before I left.
Yeah. Oh shit! I didn't know that you were still missing some. No, Garden. Let me know. And I'll see if I have any extra copies, and I'll send them to you. Send me a message on, you got me, Discord and all the places. Send me a message, and let me know. And if I have any extra copies, I'll send them to you. We're not saying that the Matt storyline was bad. It's mostly just the problems that him leaving created, and then him having to fix it.
And then the
RPG. Yeah, the freaking RPG book. I have it right over there. Do you have the Prophecies of the Dragon also?
I don't. I'm still looking for that.
I have that one. I have
this. I found in a local store here. I never had it. I always wanted it, and I found it, and it was just, he priced it just book cover price.
Yeah. All right. That's awesome.
And I was like, that's awesome. I'm buying it. It's done. It's mine. And I was like, now I need the other one. Not that I'm ever going to play D&D.
It's dude.
It's bad. It's bad.
It's bad. It's not balanced well. It's not a great system. It's very clunky.
It's because it's based off of 3.0, between 3.0. It's like 3.2.
Yeah. And it's really kind of, I feel like they didn't play test it very much, but
they did not.
It's still fun. Like actually my introduction to Wheel of Time was that book.
Really?
Yeah. So like my friend, when I was in middle school, my friends, I've told the story before, I think. But basically my friend's older brother wanted us to play that because he was a huge Wheel of Time fan.
Mm-hmm.
And this is 96, 97, I guess. And he was like, but you got to read the first couple of books because I want to set the story just before the first book. I'm like, all right. So he made us read the first couple of books so that we could play that game. So that's how I started reading Wheel of Time. It was his downfall, though, because I also fell in love with it. And then, now I'm doing this shit, and he doesn't do anything. Screw you, Keith. No, not really. I owe him that, but there's a whole backstory to that. That's really cool.
Yeah, one of the things I really enjoy about this, right? It has just the spell.
It has some good art.
It has some good art. It has some good art, but it has like all the spells that would have it in there, right? So like you can sever someone.
Yep. That's a lost feat. You need to pick up the feat lost to be able to get to learn that.
Yep. And you can only do it to the same gender unless you do it a 6+ above the casting levels, and then you could do it to the opposite gender.
And what does that sound like? That's how Lan talks about in the show how it was difficult. How he didn't think Ishamael severed Moiraine because it would be too difficult for a man to do that by himself.
I love this one. That's Mirror Mists.
Yeah, and she's gigantic,
She's gigantic. Yep. Anyway, great artwork. If you can find it locally, especially at a local comic book store, get it, pick it up.
The only art I don't like is the front cover. I don't like that depiction
it's not very good.
Yeah, the Ogier on the front's not great. The Ogier in the book is good.
To be perfectly honest, I honestly like this better than any DKS. So
that's fair. That's fair. I played a Wolf Brother, by the way. I was a woodsman and then a Wolf Brother because it has I don't remember which. I think it was 3.0. I don't know if I ever played 3.0, like regular D&D. But it has like a advanced class system. So like you start off as a thing, and then eventually when you reach a certain point, you could become another class, like a Wolf Brother, or blah, blah, blah. You have to fulfill certain criteria. I've seen, obviously you see that in video games and stuff, but prestige class, that's what it's called.
Yeah.
But anyway, no, I didn't know they made a Watt mod for Skyrim. Now I'm going to have to sink another 1,000 hours into Skyrim.
Right. I did not know that. And I generally play it on console, so it wouldn't matter to me. But I'd buy a brand new computer system to do a Watt mod.
If it was like fully fleshed out and like, I've seen some people do crazy stuff, like completely redo the entire game with like voice actors and stuff like that. Like I've seen some crazy mods. So if it's like that level, at least if it's good, like I'll fucking dive back into stuff.
Now, Tom, let me ask you a question. Let's see how deep into the Watt lore you are.
Okay.
Did you ever play Watt Mud?
Oh yeah. Shit. I know the person that owns Watt Mud.
I tried logging in the other day, and it is so different. You know, you youngins nowadays.
Yeah, I know. The muds. Oh my god.
The muds now. You get an auto map. Ugh. We used to have it. We used to have to like text-based draw it out.
Yeah.
Okay.
We had to, or remember it. I can't tell you how many spreadsheets.
Or remember it. The people that could remember that shit off the top of their heads.
I couldn't.
I could not do it.
No. I played the Wheel of Time first person shooter, which is so bad.
Oh my god. I have that. I bought it off GOG, and it's just because I could never get it to run off the CD.
Right, you could get it now. Right,
you can get it on GOG. And like I just played that and I was like they made that game and I'm just like, why?
I don't know. It was probably somebody at the studio liked Wheel of Time, and Robert Jordan was like, "Sure, go ahead, make a video game." I don't care.
Well, I think that game is actually one of the Red Eagle properties.
Red Eagle was not around when they made that game. They may own it. Maybe they bought the rights for it, but the original Wheel of Time video game, Red Eagle wasn't around when they made that.
Or IWAT, as they're known now. No, they're always going to be REI. Okay, they're always going to be Red Eagle.
I'm done with those guys. I sat in front of them at the season 1 premiere in LA, and they said hello, and I was just like,
yeah, God.
Who produced the Wheel of Time video game? Wheel of Time, GOG. Does it have the information? Legend Entertainment and Night Dive Studios. Legend Entertainment hasn't made anything in a very long time, and they've only made that.
Good.
and like four other games. Something called Eric the Unready, which is a very old, also text-based RPG. It looks like Star Control 3, not Star Control 1 or 2, Time Quest, and Mission Control. Just a couple of space games, a Conan-esque looking RPG game from like 1992, and the Wheel of Time.
That's a weird studio to give that project to then.
Yeah, I don't see them linking the Larry and Eric Selvig are pretty young. Like, well, they're not that young. They were in their 40s like 10 years ago. So like, but like this was like a fully fledged development company in like the 80s. So I think they're young for that. I'm not sure.
Okay.
We could do some digging and we'll see. But anyway,
it doesn't matter. I don't need to know anything more.
Yeah, that's fair. I don't want to look into them at all.
I just need to know, like, there's a new thing.
Harriet, and we're done.
Is there a new thing coming out for Wheel of Time that is Red Eagle attached to it that I don't want anything to do with it?
No, there is a new thing coming out for Wheel of Time. They announced it like 2 years ago, and then we've heard nothing. And it was, I think, Fantasy Flight stealthily announced that a tabletop game is coming. They didn't say anything about it other than it is a board game. That's it. Like either like not a board game. It is a tabletop game. So they didn't say if it's an RPG or a board game or whatever, but it's not a video game. It is a tabletop-esque game. And that's all it was. It just showed the black back screen, the Wheel of Time coming soon, and that was it. And no other information has come out since then. Yeah, Rick Selvig, that's what it is. I got most of that name right. Who cares? That's a real person too. See, I'm always
Eric
happy
Selvig,
when my brain
like,
actually. I don't just make things up with my dyslexia and ADHD. I would love a tabletop game too. I've seen some really good fan-made ones, and I'd love to see a good, like fully published one. That would be nice.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see. Fantasy Flight Games does narrative dice games, which I'm not my favorite dice systems. And I know that they have been going through some economic troubles in the last few years, so I don't know where that would end up happening. Tabletop RPG stuff is like my other side of Morshadi. Okay. So,
I love tabletop RPGs as well.
And in terms of running something of what I have already, right? There are a couple of games that I own that are under the Powered by the Apocalypse system that would work really, really well. In fact, I was actually planning on running a Wheel of Time based game on stream using a couple of them. There's one called Fellowship, which is the media touchstone you would most associate with it would be Lord of the Rings. So it would take a little bit of the other title. Here's Josh, you wouldn't be wrong. And so that would be Fellowship. There's a couple of things. It's a little bit. There's a couple of extra elements to it that would work really well for some of the like Ogier and some of the Shanshan, things of that nature. The more nitty gritty side of Wheel of Time, I would use something called The Sword, the Crown, and the Unspoken Power, which is a little bit more deep than I can get into here. But essentially it is, imagine, I'd think about the politics of Game of Thrones and inject a little bit of a magic system. And that is the media touchstone you would use for that. But like, I've been thinking about running that in, say, like during the fall of Carahan after Lamont's Pride.
Okay, right? That's cool.
All of the
because of all of the like the politicking that would have went on and the vying for the
either that or you run Court of Blades, which is a Blades in the Dark hack, which is kind of the same concept. I have quite a few games that I can like. I have like nearly 200 gigs G drive full of all different types of games. And like, if ever someone's like, I really wish I could find a game that isn't D&D that I could run this in.
Many. There's so many out there.
Me, just reach out to me.
I particularly, honestly, like it depends on the person and it depends on the table, like the players and the GM and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But they like, it could go one of two ways. I feel like if you want a game that has mechanics built into it that fit the Wheel of Time world, that's going to take some digging to find.
Yeah.
Like, because there's not a lot that is similar to that.
Mm-hmm.
But on the other side, if you want a game that you could theme for Wheel of Time, where you have players that don't depend on the rules of mechanics to kind of ground them, and like a more narrative-based system, Fate, I feel like, is the perfect thing, because it's super simple. You could pretty much put anything to it, and everything it's much more narrative-based, which is what the Wheel of Time is.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing, is like you would need to do Fate, or like Power by the Apocalypse is that. It's a very narrative-based fail forward, fail up system.
Yeah.
And there are lots of little games that would work for it, and those are the two or three that would work for it. I haven't dug too deep into it because, like I said, I was going to run a Oops All Links, a Zelda one shot last summer to test out Fellowship to see how well it would work for a story like that, where everyone played their own what's it called, version of Link from different games.
Oh, that's fun.
On just a simple mission and just whatever, right? It was
Child Link from Ocarina of Time.
Yeah, Child Link and Ocarina of Time, and then like
I got the Deku sword and shield, and that's it.
Yep. And the system would accommodate for that. And then I was like working with a friend on getting it on their channel, and we were going to do like a 4 episode drop for it. That's when freaking Critical Role came out with their own version and dropped at the same time. And
I've been wanting to look into Critical Role's tabletop game that they made. That's not
Daggerheart.
Yeah, that thing. Yeah, I've been wanting to look into that.
It's like 400. Their playtest is 400 pages long.
That's big.
It's huge. It's more than a playtest. It's like I was like, what the hell?
I'm willing to give it a shot.
It's got some good bones to it.
But it's a playtest, though.
Yeah.
So.
Well, the good bones to it are it will get people off of D&D, but essentially it's just D&D with more narrative structure to it.
That's fine. I'm fine with that, to be honest. Not giving Hasbro money would make me happy.
Well, I mean, it is Critical Role, and they are like...
Yeah. But the fact that they made their own thing and it's not developed or produced by Hasbro makes me happy. Do they have contracts with them? Yeah. But... Yeah.
What I'm saying is, like, always keep an eye out on that horizon, because the minute Daggerheart gets really popular is when Hasbro comes in.
Yeah,
so
it's just so much easier for developers, like indie developers, to get off the ground now, where they don't need the big names behind them. I mean, that's not to mean that they won't come in and snatch them up, but they don't need it to get off the ground now. Where before, like when you were an indie developer for something like a tabletop game, especially before the internet and things like that, you had to go to, like, there was no way to get it anywhere. You had to go to one of those developers and basically give it to them for nothing and then let them sell it. Now you can come to them with a platform, with a product, with and actually have bargaining power, and or not need them at all if you don't want to. But we digress. So I just wanted to I love Jaipur and Splendor. Those are two fantastic games. Splendor is a great game for people that want to play like nerdy type board games, like not Monopoly and Sorry, but don't want to play like crazily crunchy games. It's a really fun game. My wife and I actually played in a tournament for that, and I got in second place, I think, and Aaron got in third place, and we won a game mat, which was really cool, like a neoprene mat.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of Euro games.
All the
little fiddly like sit there and anyway, yeah, like I'm very much.
It's funny because I like Euro games more than American games oftentimes, because the Euro games tend to not have a mechanic where it's an elimination mechanic in the game, where you eliminate a player from the game and then they don't play.
Yeah, that is true.
And that's frustrating for people. Obviously, if you're going to play a 2-hour game and you get eliminated 20 minutes in, and now your friends are playing a board game for 40 minutes and you're just sitting there doing nothing.
Yeah, and that's my big issue though is with with a lot of those Euro games and stuff. There's too much economy to them.
Yeah.
And
that's a fair. I mean, most of them are worker placement, resource management games.
Yeah, and
or some variant of
there's
one or both or more
on the games I do, and why I'm always the GM, and that is because they're narrative forward and they're very low prep, and B, I as a player am very selfish and get bored easily. So if I'm the GM, I'm constantly active, and so I'm a forever GM, and I'm okay with that. The action, the economy, high economy games I'm just sitting there going, I'm done. I'd rather just go play a hand of poker, like than sit here and try to like. These are so many cubes. There's so many cubes.
I understand.
I just can't. But there are a lot of little games. If a game is anywhere between 30 to 60 minutes, perfect for me. Social deduction games, fantastic. Things like that. But I love the fact there is a convention, Arosa. I have no idea where you are in the world.
New York.
New York. If you are someone who is able and
I love Everdell. Sorry, my wife and I also got that like a couple of months ago. I think it was a Kickstarter that we backed. It was fantastic. I love that.
If you are able to ever get to, well, and in fact, actually, they're having their end of summer event here over Labor Day, but SaltCon. SaltCon is a event that happens 3 times a year. Spring is usually over April. It is a 4-day event. Starts Thursday morning at 10 a.m. and ends at 10 p.m. on Sunday, and it is 24 hours.
That's awesome.
So a hall is open. The games are available. There's tabletop games, there's board games, things of that nature. There's not a video game in sight. Well, the spring one has a Star Trek simulator, but otherwise there's no video games in sight.
Oh, have you ever played? Oh shit! Oh man, I forgot what it's called. It's basically, I think it's called Submarine, maybe, where everyone takes a role on the ship and you have to like narratively play through something. Like the weapons control people have to do things, and the captain okay.
That's basically the
That's
Star
what
Trek
it is. Okay. That's what I figured. It was probably that. I've seen a lot of reskinnings of that game, and there's basically that the board game comes with an app that you can use for it. So much Captain Sonar. That's what it is.
Yeah. It's a really fun system, but like the convention itself.
Brandon's talked about SaltCon.
Brandon Sanderson. Oh yeah. He goes to Utah, so of course, I'm sure he's gone. But SaltCon is a lot of fun. It happens every year. It's got 3 events. The smaller events are beginning of summer, end of summer. The tickets are relatively cheap, especially when it's like literally 24 hours. There are guys there who like will come every year, rent a table, set up their 3rd edition of Twilight Imperium, lay it all out, the expansions and everything, and play the entire weekend. That's all they play. Fantastic. And because everyone knows each other, right? People will set it up. They'll leave it alone. They'll go to their rooms. No one touches their shit, right? Yeah, and they come back. And here's my favorite thing about it. They cap their tickets at like 2,200 people. So the event is very small. It's very intimate. I have made lifelong friends from people.
Conventions where you share nerddoms, making lifelong friends. I would know nothing of that.
Right. Well, that's my problem. Is that's why I've never gone to Jordan Con as an adult that has money, is because it always generally falls around the same time as Jordan Con.
Well, actually, I was going to say, so Jordan Con has a pretty awesome game room. 24-hour game room. You can go in whenever you want. It's not a gaming focused convention, so they're not going to have as much stuff around it, but they have a gaming track and a game room. And the gaming track is they modeled it as a shadow track, so it's like doesn't have a dedicated room that is like, this is the gaming track room, where like the fantasy track has a room, all the panels that are in that room are on the fantasy track, where the gaming track kind of has panels, could be in any of the tracks. They've done a gaming panel in the art track where they talked about art in gaming, and some of the artists that were there had worked on like D&D, and not just artists, but that we have an author who also does art. Her name's, I think she does art too. I know she's an author. Her name's Sarah Madsen. She also developed one of the newer D&D books. Had stories in it. I think she has like 3 modules in it. Candlekeep Mysteries.
Candlekeep Mysteries. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she has like 3 stories in that. But we also have artists that have worked in gaming, both RPG and tabletop and things like that. And then they'll do one in, based on lore in gaming, and it may be in the sci-fi or the fantasy. But they also do events, actual gaming events. People will come in and test games, game developers, just people at the con. The guy that runs the track does gaming events. If you want a light gaming weekend and a Wheel of Time weekend, you can do that with Jordan Conarosa. So, you could have the best of both worlds with that. Not to push Jordan Con on people, but that is the truth. I used to, like in the beginning before I started working there, because back in New York, they didn't, like where I lived, they didn't have a lot of game shops that I knew of. And like, I really only played board games with like my friends. And at that, it was like Risk was like, and maybe one of the weirdly themed Risks, not like the regular Risk, was like the nerdiest game I got. So all of the kind of fun nerd type gaming that I did was at Jordan Con. So there were years where I spent like 90% of my weekend in the gaming track when I was at Jordan Con, which was kind of fun.
I will say, like, absolutely.
Yeah, Dice Tower Con is cool.
Go to Jordan Con. But Arosa, just so you know, it's Utah, so everyone brings their kids. I brought my kids to this convention for years, and I felt absolutely comfortable bringing my kids. Jordan
Con it's family friendly. It's like PG-13 rated, I think, everything.
I have found like
conventions
on other locations are very like, yeah, you can bring your kids. We prefer if you didn't.
Yeah.
Utah conventions are very family-oriented conventions.
Well, I mean, it's Utah.
So this one in particular.
There's a lot of Mormons there.
Yeah. This one in particular, very family-oriented. Like, I have people there who like know my kids. Like if I went, hey, where's my child? Have you seen my child? Oh yeah, they were over there, blah, 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 doing that thing.
Yeah.
Just by sight. They know. I could just randomly ask a person, they would know. And so if you feel like you would need to bring your kids to this one, this would definitely be one you would need to. I don't know how old your kids are, but like if they're a bit older in the 10 and above age, they would very much enjoy this this convention. I think the convention has like I think almost 2,000 board games of different types of, and that's just like that. And
I love nerds.
Yeah, it's just I cannot speak the praises of this convention enough. It is.
I gotta check it out.
Yeah.
As
well, lots of Wheel of Time people live in Utah. That would be a great meetup. Is all I'm saying.
That's true. I mean, Josh is there, isn't he? Yeah, Josh is in Utah.
Josh is there. Well, obviously Brandon Sanderson, Josh, myself. I would be there.
Hatch is there.
Matt Hatch is there. There's quite a handful. I don't want to like dox anybody. I know if
that's true.
There, so.
Those people are known to be there. They've talked about living in Utah widely.
Yes.
But one property I feel is lacking in the game department is Avatar: Last Airbender, which is why we're here as well. So there's not a lot of tabletop games for them, but there is that one that I also backed that on Kickstarter. It is really fun. I've only played it once so far. I was a player in that. My wife actually DM'd it. It was for my birthday because I love Avatar: Last Airbender, hence why we're doing this.
Yep. I was a playtester for that game.
Oh, awesome. That's cool.
Yeah.
Oh, did you do the thing where they were you could sign up and play in the games. Magpie Games had it on their.
Yeah, it was actually early on before they sent it out for that regular playtesting. It was the original playtesting, and then they had me doing running games for WonderCon, which is the online version for San Diego Comic-Con.
That's so cool. That's so fun. I enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun with it. Again, a more narrative-based system than a lot of others, because again, the idea of having mechanics built around a lot of mundane things that benders can do with their bending powers is just too much. Like, just to have someone who could just bend like a cup of water and move it around, to build some sort of mechanic around that and dice rolling around that to do very simple tasks would be annoying and frustrating for people. And really, a water bender should never fail at just moving a small amount of water from one place.
Yeah. And that system is powered by the Apocalypse system, and that is basically you never roll unless the outcome is uncertain.
Yeah. Or there's stakes involved.
It has a couple of things in it that I was like, and whenever I ran it, I would just change it around, which is exactly what you should do with any game.
Yeah. The rules are just guidelines.
Exactly.
Everything is up to the table and the GM.
But I love the system. I love the world itself, and so I've run quite a few games with it, and I still have some characters.
It's one of the best. I mean, technically, waterbenders can do that because bloodbending. Avatar is one of the best worlds, just in general, in my opinion. I just love the lore in Avatar, the writing in both the comics and in the animated series. The live action series is also good, and I enjoyed it for its own, again, just similar to Real Time, as its own thing, because it is very different. It's more real and grounded in a sense of, because it's live action and there are just things that they can't do that they could do in the animated version. One of the gripes a lot of people have with the live action version versus the animated version is the character of Sokka. Not so much the actor, but just the way he's portrayed. He's not as funny, and he's not. He makes almost as many jokes as he does in the animated version, but he's not as funny. And I think I figured out why. And it was mainly because we're doing this, and I was watching the live action at the same time. And we watched an episode of the animated series, and just before we had watched it, I had got done watching an episode of the live action series, and I noticed a lot of things in the animated series, and I'll see if we do any here, where there are just things that are physically impossible for a person to do. So their head grow 5 sizes and their eyes bulge out to make a comical thing happen when, you make a joke. Like Sokka does that a lot. There's a lot of slapstick.
Yep.
Yeah, there you go. See, Rapunzel and I, we're on the same wavelength.
Yeah.
That are done in the animated in the cartoon that you just can't do in real life and make it look serious. It could look like, Jim Carrey's The Mask, where they did the cartoon stuff, but live action, but that just looks dumb. That's obviously.
Or you have to be Jim Carrey and actually be able to do that with your face.
Yeah, forget it. Jim Carrey is just a sick person. He's so insanely good. Saying that he hasn't won an Oscar. I'm still pulling for him. Anyway, but yeah, so it's its own thing. And after really kind of understanding it more, I liked the live action better. The only real thing that I have about it that I still don't like, and I just feel like it's a failing on the director's part and not so much the actor's part, is the way the kid that does Aang portrayed Aang. I just feel like he got a lot of bad direction from the director. I watched a interview with the kid, and the kid's normal demeanor, or his demeanor in the interview as himself, was Aang. And then his demeanor in the show is just this
just too serious.
Yeah, he's like a 40-year-old man, and he doesn't have that kind of innocence of he's a 12-year-old kid thrust into this situation that Aang kind of has, that makes the dynamic of when he actually does step up, kind of that juxtaposed nature of when he is so much a kid and then does step up and do the thing, and he's put in a situation and you're like, wow, this kid's in this situation. I never felt that in the live action show. I always felt he could handle himself and he was fine, and it wasn't affecting him because of just the way he is portraying it very stoically in a lot of cases. But yeah. So before we jump into this episode, though, I will do my normal shtick that I do. So we're going to be watching it on the Teleparty extension, which is a free extension that you can get on Chrome. I have it currently going right now on my browser. I'm just going to make sure it's there, and it is. But it restarted. So Morshadi, it may have restarted for you too. I'm gonna repost the link in just a second. So that if people want to join through this Teleparty extension, I believe it works on Safari browsers. It is a Chrome-based extension, but I think Ali last week from Wheel Takes was using it on a Safari, on an Apple browser, and it was working. So I think it works on both. Morshadi, I'll put it in the.
It's starting up right now.
It worked. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So if you want to watch through that, you can. Then you could follow along like with the actual show that we're watching. So if we pause it, it'll pause for you, blah, blah, blah. If you don't want to use that, or if you're watching by other means, maybe you have the DVD box set or something, you could follow along with the timestamp that is cut off on the bottom of my screen right now. And I'll fix that for everybody. That's the resizing. And I will align the timestamp to the Netflix time when I press play on the show, so you could follow along in that way if you want. For people that do join us on the Teleparty thing, there's a chat room in that. I close it and don't look at it. So if you post on that, I'm not going to see it. If you want to chat with us, come over to we're streaming on Facebook, we're streaming on Twitch, we're streaming on YouTube. So come over to one of those platforms and chat with us through that, and we'll see it in our little thing that we have going here for Streamyard. I'm excited about this episode. I think it's labeled as episode 8 on here. It was originally episode 8, but then the way Netflix combines episodes, this is technically episode 9 on Netflix, I think. Yeah, it's episode 9 on Netflix, but I labeled it as episode 8 because I was looking at the list of episodes like on a different website, so just ignore that. It's episode 9, Nightmares and Daydreams. I think this is Katara and Aang's first kiss episode. I'm excited. Yeah, there's a lot that happens in this episode. So we're gonna get ready to press play in just a minute. If you were in Morshadi, if you were in the Avatar world, would you be a bender? And do you know what element you would bend?
And you are asking in the current show or in using Korra as well?
Let's everything together. So let's take let's take like the current setting of like present Avatar. So like to the end of Korra.
Okay. So through the end of Korra, I would probably actually say no.
Not a bender.
I would not be a bender.
Okay.
There is just too many as you get to the point of the end of Korra, and now obviously like there's a lot of like spiritual mysticism and all that kind of stuff involved with it, but there tends to be a overriding fact of in Korra when you watch it of power dynamics involved with being a bender. I mean, it shows up a little bit in this one too. But it's really heavy in that one. And to be perfectly honest, I don't want to be in service.
That's fair.
I don't want to use my fire bending to charge up the city.
Yeah, right? That's fair.
I don't, or
yes,
have
Rapunzel,
to I don't have to like survive by becoming a pro bender. Like, can I just sell my cabbages? Like, can I just do that?
I get that. I totally get that. I honestly, I still think I would end up being a bender, and I still think I think I would end up being an airbender just based off of my having my self-awareness of where my mentalities actually lie. A lot of people peg me for an earthbender, but it's not who I am at my core.
Yeah, if I was going to choose a bending style, it would be water bending. Mainly because I just can't. If I'm at the beach, you can't get me out of the water.
Oh yeah, I grew up on in a beach town.
Yeah,
in the water, essentially.
I'm doxing myself a little bit. I grew up in Huntington Beach.
Oh, okay.
So like,
I grew up in Long Beach, New York.
Wrong Long Beach, but all right, I guess.
I used to pretend that Brad, I forgot his last name, Bradley from Sublime, was singing about Long Beach, New York, and not Long Beach, California, when he would sing about.
I see.
When he would sing about Long Beach in the thing. Oh yeah! Oh, my Hobbit costume. I think I still have the pictures in here from when we did our Hobbit, our little Hobbit themed. Yeah, here it is. Our Hobbit themed food extravaganza last week.
Yeah, that is very Earthbender.
Yeah,
very Earthbender.
Though, to be fair, it is I look like maybe like a young Guru Patik, who I think we're going to see in this episode as well.
True.
It's more. I think it's just an Aang hallucination that we see.
Most of this episode is very Aang hallucinatory.
Yeah. Oops. I pressed play on the show. So if you're watching the thing, I played and paused it, so you're not going crazy. Anyway, we're gonna get started on the show now. So I'm gonna press play on the show, and then I'll align the timer with that when it catches up, and you guys can follow along that way. So I'm gonna be pressing play in 3, 2, 1. Yay! Okay, it's fine. And then I will align the timer.
Longest I've gone without sleep. Is actually when Crossroads of Twilight came out. I took 4 days off. And that includes like weekends. So like 2 days, right? With Thursday and Friday.
Yeah.
And then it came out. No, wait. Thursday and Friday, and then like I had to work Monday. Whatever. Anyways, I took those days off and read every book back to back. Pounding energy and just like reading all because I was like, because Crossroads of Twilight's coming out. Crossroads
was like 2001, 2002.
Yeah, something like that. And so yeah, and then to have to read Crossroads of Twilight.
That's funny. I think the longest I ever went was probably 2 days or 3 days, and that was sadly playing World of Warcraft.
Wow.
my friends and I from high school, we would do this thing called 24-hour power hour, where we would stock up on snacks and drinks, and then sit in Ventrilo back in the day and play World of Warcraft from when the new expansion released. I think we did this in Burning Crusade at the first expansion, and then just played until we hit max level. And we were always like in the first group of like 100 people that hit max level. Oh, I missed what were the sheeps? Were shit.
Oh yeah, I didn't see what the
I missed it. I missed what combination the sheeps were. I'm sure we'll see them again. So this is another great example of
animation stretching versus in real life. You can't do that in real life.
So that's one of the things that's like, where the humor of the show just can't be translated into live action. I also love that Toph is sleeping on the ground directly.
Well, yeah.
I just like that little bit of thing.
Well, if you notice the differences between how Toph used to sleep, right, and how she's sleeping now, it used to be she would hide herself away, right,
in that little
in a little
tent made of earth.
Now she's out in the open. She's very much more connected to her partners.
She's more open, as herself. She's more connected. I love these two. These little dream sequences with him in them are fantastic as well. His hair looks like
just anime hair, just like.
Well, he specifically, it reminds me of older Gohan, like adult Gohan from Dragon Ball Z. See, but the other thing is with Aang here, like his childlike nature in the way he's fearful of this, and the fact that it's real.
Hey, look, it's your sister from another sister.
It's Beth. Hi, Beth.
So
that is Beth Doman. You should, if you're not, you should go follow her over on Twitch. She's often gaming over there with the lovely Morshadi, usually in the background, giving peanut gallery type commentary. Which is
indeed. One of the things I really love about this episode is that they're showing the two different sides of people having to live up to expectations that are being put upon them or what they think they have to do, right? Their own expectations and other people's expectations. Because you have Aang, who his own expectations is that he has to defeat the Fire Lord and be the Avatar and things like that. And he's putting so much pressure on himself, right? And then here you show Zuko, the returned prodigal prince, right? Mm-hmm. And he's just wanting to be himself in his skin and is being comfortable walking across the palace grounds, right? To go visit his girlfriend. But the expectation of everyone else is, no, you're a prince. You don't walk amongst the people. You have to ride in this across the way. Like, and he's very uncomfortable about that.
He doesn't feel that he's above the people, which is a good thing. Like he should.
Yeah, which is a good thing. Which is a very good thing.
Yeah, that scene where he's punching the tree is very like old school kung fu training montage themed as well. I like the way that they're going through, and again, also he's going through the different bending forms. He's doing water right now, Tai Chi. Before the hard brute like punching was earth kind of a little bit because it was more kung fu oriented. All of the I don't know if you know this, we talk about it a bunch, but all of the martial arts they do in the show is based on real martial arts. All of the movements that they do is actual real martial arts. There's a meaning behind why each martial art is dedicated to each bending style and sometimes differ between character to character, which I really love. We do get one thing in this episode that's one of my favorite things in the whole series, and that's, I think it's the next dream sequence.
My favorite is the waking daydream of
that's Momo that's what our thing is. Our where is it? I have it in here from last week.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Yeah, our thumbnail for this week. That's what it is. It's my favorite. It's fantastic. And this time I brought pants. Also, the fake Fire Lord here is also voiced by Mark Hamill. The jujitsu one, it was Shin-Na. It was the one that Hama uses that's based in bloodbending. Because the jujitsu is all about control of your opponent. Like you're supposed to take control of your opponent and manipulate their joints and things like that. So that's why they used that form of martial art for Hama's bloodbending. But Shin-Na or Shin-Na, it's Qinna, is what jujitsu is derived from. Jujitsu derived from that martial art style. It's like from like 200 BC or something. When I did my deep dive into Hama last week, that's what I saw. Her name is also like means like blood or like life's blood or something like that in like one language, and then like part of it from another language means another thing. There's a lot of really deep, fun narrative things with like stuff that most people would never freaking look up or know with the show. And that's what reminds me so much of like the Wheel of Time, because there's so much little bits of knowledge that are real world knowledge and real world traditions and things and folklore and mythologies built into the show, similar to how Robert Jordan built Wheel of Time and like the cultures and stuff like that. Mark Hamill's voice is amazing. He's an amazing voice actor, and his Fire Lord is fantastic. A cow dragon. I mean, a buffalo dragon. I'm not a hippo dragon.
Hippo
yeah.
Dragon, yeah.
Yeah, Hippo Dragon is fantastic and terrifying. Hippos are the most violent creatures on the planet, and if they could breathe fire and fly, I would never leave my house. In one of my dreams, you were running from Fire Nation soldiers and you fell off a cliff.
I love the fact that they continue like giving him bags under his eyes and
oh my god, I hate you now. Oh god, I love you so much, Home Garden. I hate you and I love you. That was fantastic. I'm sorry. Sorry, go ahead, Morshadi.
Oh no, just like the little details of his insanity going.
Oh yeah, his hair gets more mussed. The bags under his eyes get deeper. He also gets kind of like more hunched over. He starts to like.
Yep.
Meh. Look at him. Oh, he looks like shit. The animation in the whole show has been great, but season 3. You could tell they got like a huge budget increase and the animation just went skyrocketed. But
which is actually one of the reasons it actually got canceled after the 3rd season.
Yeah. I thought it was always meant to be 3 seasons.
I think,
or is that just the narrative that they ran with?
They had actually a narrative for 4.
Okay.
But they only got the 3 out of Nickelodeon, so they put all their money on that.
That's fair.
This last season.
Oh God, is this the Porcupine? Oh no, that's the next one. The scheming first.
The scene with in Korra where she goes back and talks or learns about the first Avatar and things like that.
That's wonderful. Yeah.
That was actually meant to be in season 1, but it was supposed to be a longer story arc for all that, and so. And because it got cut off in the 3rd season, they were like, okay, well, we're going to have to get rid of that.
Okay. I'm really surprised Nickelodeon didn't invest more into this. I mean, they are now, but like at the time, like it still did very well at the time.
It's true. But this is also, I mean, it's stuff like this, right? That I'm just like, this is why you just got to appreciate the things that you got when it gets released and just watch what you have.
Oh, it's the Wang Firebeard, sir.
Because they just will. Bean counters are there. They bean count. That's what they do. They're there to make money for the business. And if they say, sorry, but the Avatar show is not making you money, you make more money by just writing it off on taxes.
I know that's
what they're gonna do.
It's the shit part about these companies that they're like in the long run they'll make so much more money if they just even pretend to care about their properties and their fans a little bit more. In the long run, they'll make more money. But they're so focused on the short-term quarterly gains for their stockholders that they don't invest in it, and then they lose brand loyalty, and they lose all these great properties. I think it did look like a koala. The ears too looked like koala ears.
Yeah,
we'll have to get Koala Sadai in here to make a final ruling. I forgot who pointed this out. It might have been Allie last week, or maybe it was the week before. I don't remember. But they very much so unnecessarily sexualize Azula in this show. Like, there's a lot of scenes with her that are a little too sexualized for her because mainly, she's supposed to be like.
She is, I believe, supposed to be 16 or 17.
Yeah. She's a child.
It is that. I would say there is that, but there's also a level of, because she doesn't get that way until she comes back and goes into power. There's also is she supposed to be 14? Either way, my point is going to stand. There's a level of, they make her character grow up too fast.
Yeah.
Right. She has
That's
been
part of
put
her
into
trauma.
position. Yeah, part of her trauma throughout her entire childhood as well. But part of her trauma is that she has been shunted into this position where she is supposed to be a leader of an entire nation, can trust no one, at least in her head, and and in a leadership where you're supposed to be an adult. And so visually, yeah, you would see like that's what's going on, and it also leads into her mental downfall. But yeah, I could see that. But like,
especially for a children's show, like if this was a
yeah.
more adult oriented show, I would get it. But this is a children's show; it's supposed to be rated G.
Yeah, the show itself, I don't think it did. I think it did it just fine.
It was okay. There's a couple of parts that are a little icky. I feel like
it did it in a stereotypical way that you would do to show that on screen. Like
if that's what they were going.
The unhinging.
Yeah.
Like
I do. I like one of the things I like a lot specifically about Azula and Zuko is the depiction of both of their kind of mental problems based around their childhood trauma.
Yeah.
And how different the outcomes are in that sense. Like, you have these two people that dealt with the same childhood trauma, but in two very different ways and had two very different outcomes because of those things. And they both are given, I think, respectful attention in the way that they did it in the show. Yeah, I agree with you. Reverse. Maybe it was you and I. Maybe it was reverse. Maybe we were talking about it when we had reverse on for episode 1. I mean, don't get me wrong. The Usagi Yojimbo reference with Momo is fantastic, but just having more Momo is just great. There's a lot of Momo in this episode, and it makes me very happy. Obviously, they also show his wound on his back a lot.
Yep, and it's to remind us of his mistake.
Yep, and that he's currently blocked in some way. That wound goes much further than the scar on his body. So good. He's almost like a roly-poly bug. He's like a roly-poly buffalo.
I mean, if I had a big tail like that, I totally
would hug it. That's a good pillow. It's a built-in pillow right there.
Right.
It's a snuggle pillow. He had the benefit of the separation and the influence of Iroh and his mother, though. His mother, yeah, there you go. Their mother had a more nurturing relationship with him. But that was because I feel like she saw more Ozai in Azula and she distanced herself from her, which was also bad on her part. It's the first kiss, kind of, but it's also purely in his mind, I'm pretty sure.
I love that monotone drop. So you know that it's fake. So there's a lack of emotion in that monotone drop.
Yeah. Living underwater.
And I love this.
See, that dynamic also just wasn't there in the live action show. Like, again, a young child kind of like trying to find his feelings and things. It was just lost because of the way they did it. Oh, Glenn, what up?
Hey.
Welcome home. I'm glad you made it back in one piece. I think this is it. I think this is when we get our...
Yeah, it's just right after this.
Second best depiction of the Fire Lord.
Yeah, the first one's got to be Melon Lord.
Absolutely is Melon Lord. And this is him. This is Sokka finally fulfilling his promise from like 3 or 4 episodes ago. He's already starting to craft Appa's armor. I've been trying to remember. Oh, here we go. I wonder who does the Momo voice in this. It's so fantastic. It makes me so much more happy. It just makes me so happy. I gotta look up. I gotta see who did. If someone is listed as the voice for a Momo in this,
look up Appa as well.
D. Bradley Baker, but I think he's always done the voice for Appa. Yeah, I don't see. It's probably just someone that's listed as additional voices. Yeah, no one's. Oh no, here we go. Oh, he does Momo too. D. Bradley Baker does Appa and Momo in this too. He does the actual speaking voice for them too. Look at him! I love that he's standing on TV. It's so great. I don't know why. It just makes me happy. He really does. He really does. A lot of the voice acting.
He does. D. Bradley Baker has an amazing resume.
Yeah, he's done a ton of voices on American Dad and Phineas and Ferb. He does stuff on Looney Tunes too, I think.
Mm-hmm.
This is great. So yeah, that's 100% a reference to Usagi Yojimbo, by the way. I don't know if anyone knows who that is.
Yep.
Okay. So he's in a lot of his own standalone comics and books, but he makes an appearance in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the 90s cartoon version.
Yeah. I also have a TTRPG based on that.
Oh, what? Oh, for Teenage Mutant Ninja. Oh, that's cool.
No. Usagi Yojimbo.
Oh, Usagi Yojimbo. Okay.
There's also a comic that just restarted for it as well.
There he is. Chakras.
Banana onion.
So again, also because there's so many layers to Avatar: The Last Airbender, when he's that little form of him right there is actually a reference to this Hindu god, Siswati or something like that. She's the Hindu god of like knowledge and wealth and abundance and health and things like that. And she's often seen playing that instrument there. So that was also a reference to that, which is great because he's also like supposed to be like a purveyor of knowledge.
Yeah. This is probably one of my favorite scenes with Zuko in this episode.
I think he kind of already has accepted that this isn't for him. I think he's already there, and he's just trying to.
Well,
himself.
Like this goes back to the meeting expectations externally and internally, right?
Yeah.
Because there you go. Like the external expectations of him are being the prince, being the right hand man to the emperor, to the king, and needing to be there and have to accept that role. But who he is someone who betrayed his uncle, and that'll come into the end of this episode. That who he was and who he is and who he truly needs to be is not the position that he's in right now.
Yeah, Zuko's story is arguably the best story in the show. Yeah. Like if Zuko had just a little bit more screen time, he would be the main character of this show.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you know this, we've talked about it before. I watched some of the DVD commentary from like the behind the scenes stuff, like with the directors. It was director commentary. Zuko was a late addition. In the original scripts of the first season, Zuko didn't exist, and Iroh was very different. But the only antagonist that they had was the Fire Lord, and his role was the same. So having him sitting on this big high chair, never doing anything, wasn't that scary. So they needed someone that was more on the ground, kind of pursuing the Avatar, and they wrote this entire Zuko storyline kind of after the fact. And I feel like that's so much even more impressive than how good it turned out to know that.
Yeah.
That's great. This is very samurai shampoo.
Yep. So like the flip side of this, like Aang had his similar revelation, right? The expectations that he thinks are on the outside, but are only actually inside, and so therefore he is able to get rest. I don't think they actually did a good job of it wrapping it up, because they have been telling him that the entire time, that like, no, you don't have to worry about that. No, you don't have to be like, and then at the end, okay, fine, and then he passes out. There was no real resolution to Aang's anxiety there. Later on, obviously, like the next episode, that's where it actually really resolves itself. But like, in this episode, it's not a very good matchup to where Zuko is at the end of the episode. It's like more of a like a, well, we can't really resolve it here, we'll do it later.
Yeah, Zuko's kind of more advanced in his arc at this point. And we actually kind of have almost a fully realized Zuko. Like he's more advanced in his personal arc than Aang is at this point. Aang gets there soon, but Zuko is a little bit further along, which makes sense too. He's older, and like, you know, he's had a guiding hand for a much longer time than Aang has had, which is good.
Yep. Which
is the only like Iroh and Zuko's storyline throughout the animated series is absolutely.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So yeah, we are only going to do the one episode for tonight, because the next episode is 47 minutes long. So it would technically be like a 3-episode show, and that's a little too.
That's a little
yeah. I mean, we did accidentally go until almost 1 a.m. with Allie, but that's because Allie.
Well, Allie's got the experience of like the background of a writer. Like you would want to like.
But also, like,
sucker for the knowledge as much as you can.
Yeah. Like, we just nerded out for too long. It was just, we were both a little tipsy, I think, and because Gus brought Allie wine partway through, and I was already drinking, so I think we went a little off the deep end with that, but we had a good time. But yeah, so we're only gonna watch the one episode for tonight, but we're still gonna hang out for a little bit longer. It is that was why we went a little long in the beginning talking about Wheel of Time and RPGs and stuff like that, because I was figuring, we could keep going for a little bit. I like to pick Morshadi's brain on things that I like listening to nerds talk about things that they nerd out about, regardless of what that thing is. Because listening to somebody who's passionate about something talk about the thing that they're passionate about is just fun. Like it almost doesn't matter what the topic is.
Yeah.
And yes, we are going to do the Inside the Dragon Mount studio soon. Yes, we will do that. That will be how we end our show. But before we do that, I got to do my my nonsensical promotion stuff for Morshadi and Dragon Mount and all our stuff. So if you've been enjoying yourself and you haven't already, please drop one of those little clicks on the stuff with the button and the subscribes and the bells and all that. Make sure to, go across all of our platforms. If you're watching on Twitch, go check us out on YouTube and Facebook and Twitter and Instagram. We post stuff all over the place. There is a link on our YouTube that will bring you to our Discord, where we do a lot of chatting about Wheel of Time and other stuff. We have a whole thread dedicated to pets on Dragon Mount. And there's a lot of awesome cats and dogs and parrots and fish in there. That's been a ton of fun. And again, also make sure to go follow Morshadi. Got the new podcast that you guys just dropped, and doing some sporadic gaming here and there with myself, the Black Tower folks, Beth Joman, my sister from another mister, which everyone should go and follow as well and go check out. I'm pretty sure she's streaming right now, and she'll be streaming for a bit longer still too. So
yeah, usually she streams probably for another hour, probably.
Yeah. So at the end of this, maybe I'll take our Twitch, whatever's on our Twitch stream, and we'll do my first raid. I don't even know how to do it. But we'll
/raid and then the channel.
In the chat thing?
In the chat, yeah. /raid space and then the channel name.
Okay, we'll do that at the end of this. That'll be fun.
Okay.
So I don't know if you've seen our little thing that we've been doing now, where we do the Inside the Dragon Mount studio thing, but I based it on the old school TV show Inside the Actors Studio with James Lipton. I don't know. Have you ever seen that?
It probably a long time ago.
Okay. It's literally one of my favorite shows. I used to watch it all the time when I was a kid. It's so awesome. Like it's so hard to find streaming anywhere, and like the DVD box sets are ridiculously expensive on eBay. And even the VHS ones I looked for, and those are also expensive on eBay. But he used to do this thing where at the end of every show, it was always a famous actor of some kind. Mm-hmm. He would ask these 10 questions too. So I took those questions and we kept some of the ones the same, which are the first few. And then we took the others and kind of changed them to fit more of a, theme that fits with Dragon Mountain, the shit that we do here. General nerdery.
Yeah.
Hopefully I'll make a graphic at some point, maybe some sort of intro to this. That would be fun. Maybe I get a costume because he had like he was balding. So like the top of his head had no hair, but he had hair on the sides and like glasses and he always wore a suit. Maybe I'll get I'll make like a green screen thing so I could just put my face in it. But anywho, without any more ado for that, the questions are I think there's 10 or 11 and I have them on one of these fucking screens. This is the problem. I have my main screen is an extra wide screen. Yeah. And I lose stuff on it sometimes. And I found
those were the emails that you sent me, right?
Yeah, I found them. Yeah. So I sent the questions over to you. So our first question, and again, there's no wrong answer here. This is because this is just about you. We started doing this because I felt like we were watching these TV shows with our guests and talking with our guests, but we didn't really do anything where we kind of learned about our guests. So I was like, let's do an interview. And then naturally my mind went immediately to James. So here we go. What is your favorite word?
Well, see, I don't have a favorite word, but if you were to come up to me and say, "Hey, Morshadi, would you like some gummies?" That would be my favorite word.
Okay.
I'll leave you up to your imagination what gummies means.
Hey, man, it can mean a lot of things.
But I'm a big fan of gummy worms, gummy bears, and gummy anything. There's a reason I now have diabetes, but I'm a big fan of gummies. So if you came up to me and we're just like, here's a bag of gummies, can you do that favor for me? I'd be like, sure.
I love it. And in the same vein, what is your least favorite word?
It's not necessarily a least favorite word, but it's least favorite phrase.
Okay.
There's a lot of backstory to it. I'm not going to go into it, but it is fish belly.
Okay.
And it's just because the concept of it was just like, oh, okay. I can't think of that the same way ever again. And I need you to never, ever bring it up, ever use that phrase ever again. So yeah, fish belly.
Okay. It sounds like one of those things that you shouldn't Google.
Yeah, probably.
What's an everyday sound that you love?
Anything running water-wise. So, like right behind my apartment building, there is a little. It's not a creek. It's a man-made creek. It's like a culvert. Right? It's just a creek. It's a creek.
It's like saying that.
And every morning I get up, it's like my bathroom window faces that water, and it's like if I leave my window open in the summertime, in springtime, I could hear it just like.
That's really nice.
And it's just I always have to have some kind of running water somewhere because water is just in me, and I just need it. I
see the water bender now. I get that.
Yeah.
I also I love that. I like the Japanese water garden.
Mm-hmm.
The thing that you often see in them where it's like there's like water running into like a bowl or a cup, and then it tips forward and dumps it out, and then it comes back, and then it fills it up, and then it tips forward and dumps it out again. I forgot what it's called, but it's a thing that you often see in Japanese water. And again, what is your least favorite sound?
So if you were here very early on, you probably heard that I'm in IT. The sound of Hey, do you have a minute? That is my least favorite sound. Like, swear to fucking God.
Submit a ticket.
Like,
Submit a ticket.
and it's mainly because, like, I don't necessarily mind being bothered. Okay, I don't mind, especially if something goes wrong, like, especially if it's an emergency, things of that nature. It's not a problem. My issue is that, like, I'll be doing something like this. I'm in a meeting. I'm presenting something. I have 3 screens, right? And it's just like bam, bam, bam. I got things up on the screen, and I'm like presenting something, and then someone can see my screens, and on my cubicle wall, because I have a cubicle. I don't have an office in my main office.
Yeah.
Hey, Rob. Yeah. Hey, Morshadi, do you have a minute? Like, no.
People that can't put others in, like, just not even think about others. Just like read the room. Pay attention.
Like, we have
email.
Like, listen. It's not about
There you go.
If you can't send emails, that's why we have a help desk.
Yeah. Submit a ticket. Submit a ticket. That's
Just
why
submit
it's
a ticket.
there.
Submit a ticket.
All right. So now these next batch of questions are more in, like I said, in our vein, in our nerdery. And again, no right or wrong answer. These are basically coming to you from the stance of any kind of property, comic book, video game, TV show, movie, whatever you want. All right. So, and this isn't necessary for you. This is more just
Just
in general
speaking.
speaking.
Just
Okay.
yeah.
Who would make the best spouse or partner?
Hades from the animated movie Hercules. Here's the reason why. Because everybody needs that gay best friend who's going to tell it like it is. Like when Hades went up to Meg, and when she was all like, "Oh, he's so dreamy," and he just turns and she's like, "He's a guy!" Like, come on, you need it. And he's very sassy. He's totally gay. I'm sorry. At the very least, he's pansexual.
Yeah.
Like, sorry if I spoiled it for you. Reverse. Like, it is also like 30 years old.
Yeah.
But anyways, yeah, that Hades would be the best.
Oh God, is it really 30 years old?
It's like something like that. I don't even know how old, but it's like it's older than some of my children. I do know that.
I love it. I love that depiction of Hades. I think James Woods voiced him, right?
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah.
I mean, James Woods is a little bit of a psychopath, but
well, I mean,
so is Hades.
Sometimes you have to. Yeah.
That's fine. All right, I love that. That's a great answer. Okay, and again, who would make the worst spouse and/or partner?
The same answer, actually. Hades, the gay, sassy boy best friend, will also make the worst spouse. Like, he's out here telling you things, but also it's like, you know what? How about instead of telling me that this guy's the worst guy for me, how about you, like, oh, I don't know, clean up your demons' little shits that are everywhere. Well, I don't know about that. They're supposed to do that themselves. You know, it's just a bad relationship overall, and I think it'd just be really toxic. But you know what? It'd probably be pretty hot. So.
You've never seen Hercules? Oh my God,
my Lord!
Some of the best Disney music ever is in that film.
Dragon Mount needs to do a watch along party on their server.
I think we might. I think we're gonna start doing, like, maybe we'll do like one-offs, maybe like once a month or something. We'll do. I don't know. We'll see about that. Well, maybe we'll do a vote. We'll put it on social media and see how many people want to participate. But I would love to just watch movies, like. And chat with people. And the idea is to chat during the movie. So let's just get that out of the way now. We'll be watching things that are old, that we've seen a million times, so we can talk to them, because that's the fun part. Anyway, small interlude, and this is strictly for Rapunzel because we love her here. What does your t-shirt mean?
So there is obviously Rage Against the Machine. This is what the reference is. Indies,
okay.
Right? Okay, but this says Indies Against the Machine. There is a God damn it! I just forgot their name, and I will have to look it up because I'm going to be horrible if I don't pimp them out. Anyway, so there is a TTRPG-ish company.
Okay. So indie, like independent.
Independent game companies, essentially, and so
against the machine.
Against the machine, which is always going to be D&D. That's why they have this color, because it's the D&D color. So it is indie games against the machine, which is always going to be D&D. I bought this because I really support them. And of course, because I support them, I now, of course, forgot it. What their... Oh my God.
You're right there, buddy. Becky, look at her butt.
Oh my God. Look at her butt. Oh my God.
Those Cracker Guy's girlfriends.
Cannot believe I cannot.
Remember the name of the thing.
I can't remember the name of their company now. And
Yes,
I swear
I
to
love
God,
Rage Against
they
the
come up constantly on my thing with new shirts, and now they're not.
It's all right. You'll do the thing that I do, and in about 5 minutes, you'll shout out the name randomly.
Basically. But anyways, they're a LGBTQ plus company and everything. They're just lovely people, and they're amazing. So I just love their stuff. So this is what that shirt means.
Okay, that's awesome. All right, so back to our Dragon Mat Studio questions. Is there a fictional character from any property realm that you personally had a crush on?
So there's a character in the anime Log Horizon.
Okay.
And her name is Akatsuki. She is one of the secondary main characters, and essentially she's like a ninja. And she's just freaking adorable. Crush is more of the case of like I wish I could just like hug her and keep her with me at all times.
Pocket ninja, why not?
Like a pocket ninja, and she's just like the funniest intro with her though is that I don't know if anyone here has watched it, but Log Horizon is essentially another isekai game where everyone's inside the game.
Okay.
So, but I personally think it's better than Sword Art
Online.
Yeah, I think it's better than Sword Art Online. Yes, thank you. And it's better than Sword Art. Now, she is an adult. She just looks like a kid because
anime.
Because anime. Now, here's the reason that's funny. They got stuck in the game as their profiles, how they were in the game, but their physical attributes of how they're moving around in the game are how their bodies were. Their real bodies were. So when she's first introduced, she is walking around in a male body and she's just like stumbling around and doesn't know. She's a ninja character. She has no idea how to walk around until she gets transformed back into what she looks like in real life. And she's just like this big. She's like a college student, like PhD or something. She's like this big and just anyway. And then she goes around beating up this one character who's just a big perv, because there's always got to be a big perv in anime, and she kicks his ass constantly for being a perv. And so, yeah, I love it. I love the show, and that's just the character I have a crush on, just because I'm just like, oh.
What's the show again?
Log Horizon.
Log Horizons. Okay, cool. Speaking of kind of like the Sword Art Online-esque type thing, there's a great book series by Alaron Kong called The Land. Well, it's actually called Chaos Seeds, or Chaos Seed is the name of the like overarching story. But The Land, it's a great book series. It's very gamified in the sense of like the characters talk to each other like, oh, I just learned level 2 fireball and things like that. But it's a lot of fun, and there's a lot of pop culture references in it because it's, you know, someone from our world, i.e. it's actually the author getting sucked into a...
Oh, nice. Okay. Chaos Seeds, you said?
Yeah, Chaos Seeds. It's a really good time. He also is an author at Jordan Con, and we've had him on the show a couple times. He's really awesome dude as well. He was a doctor. He was and he quit to be an author.
So, shirt company, by the way, they are called Print Inkling. They're on Twitter, and it is run by two people. Their account names are Archzale and Devereaux. But Print Inkling, you can just look them up. They have a link tree as well. They have just a ton of shirts. They are currently reprinting their shirt from last year. It's called Hot Goblin Summer. So, like,
that's fantastic.
That's their Pride Month.
Is their
shirt.
Symbol purple?
Yes, it is a purple, like a purple octopus.
Okay, I found them. I'll post a link to their website. I love the idea of the. Oh no, that's not it. That's not their website. Now that I see what this is. I mean, it is a purple. It is. That's a purple octopus. No,
yeah,
that is them. Okay,
yeah,
never mind. That is their website. I got it right.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, I got scared for a sec. I saw like the background just didn't look like anything that's even remotely related to that from like the one image that was at the top. But then I scrolled a little bit and I saw the Hot Goblin Summer. So I was like, no, that's fantastic. Anyway, all right, on to our next question. If you were given the opportunity to like pick up a job or join a group or an institution in any property, franchise, comic book, video game, movie, whatever you want, anime, what would it be?
It would be, it wouldn't necessarily be an organization. It would be taken over as the farmer in Stardew Valley. Because think about it. Like,
no, that's great.
You get to quit your job that is like soul sucking. You get free property. And all you have to do is either you can just choose and do whatever the hell you want. You can farm, you can raise cattle, you can go mining, you can go fighting, you can
automate those things.
You can automate those things. You can have multiple relationships across the town, and no one gives a shit. Like there's aliens. Like this is an adventure all in itself, and all for free.
Yeah, that's pretty fantastic. That's a great answer. Stardew Valley. I want to be the farmer in Stardew Valley. I love that. So, speaking of, I was like, why was I thinking about Stardew Valley recently? Blumhouse, the company that makes like a lot of the newer indie horror movies that have been really great. They specifically like to give platforms to minority and indie and up and coming directors and writers and producers and actors and things like that. And they've made some fantastic movies. They just made a gaming studio, and the first game that they're putting out is the way they describe it, Stardew Valley, except there's also a serial killer killing people and chasing.
Yes. Oh, I did not know that they were that's what that same company was.
It's Blumhouse. It's their video. They made a whole separate video game company that is their video game company.
Interesting. I'm gonna have to look into that. I heard about that game. It's on PC, so I tend to avoid PC games because my computer can be weird about handling things. But I will have to take a look at that.
Field Marshal, hello. How are you doing? That's a new name in chat. Okay, so what's our next question? Okay. And then, again, in that same vein, what's a job or thing like, say, like the person who has to clean up after the Avengers or someone who comes in after Slimer from the Ghostbusters goes through a building? What's a job or a role that you wouldn't want to do?
I would not want to be anybody in the legal department in the show House.
That's fair. That's entirely fair.
Like, as awesome as like the Cures and House may be, you know that the minute those people walk out that door, as grateful as they are to have found a solution to their problem, a week later they are talking to a lawyer, and oh my God, his malpractice insurance must be through the goddamn roof.
Oh yeah, forget about it.
His malpractice insurance must be like being absorbed by the hospital itself, because he can't hold malpractice insurance.
No. And like the hospital would have no money left.
Yeah. So I would not want to be anybody in the legal department in no show House at all.
Oh, yours are benevolent too, Rapunzel? Yeah, me too. Totally. I totally mean that wholeheartedly. My cats are also.
And I, for one, bow down to our feline overlords.
They let my wife and I live here. And that is the saddest thing I've heard in chat all day. Sorry, Reverse. You should remedy that as soon as possible. All right. And our final question is there any specific portrayal of the afterlife that you've seen in any form of fiction that you would like to be real or experience yourself?
So this is a spoiler.
For
Log Horizon. So if you don't want to hear anything Log Horizon-y, spoiler-wise, like plug your ears for 30 seconds. There is, so part of the, they don't know why. The anime hasn't finished yet, and so that's one of the sad parts. But one of the things that they discover about their deaths in the game when they die and they reanimate or what's that word? Resuscitate or whatever. Respawn at the points. They are actually going into an afterlife. It's like a digitized afterlife, or like looking over the earth or whatever. And part of the way that they are going back to that world is they're losing a part of their memory. I don't necessarily care. I don't like that's a horrifying thought, right? Losing your memories because you die in the game. But it's kind of one of those interesting, because it leads to a betterment of society in the game when everyone finds out, like, oh, we can't just kill each other willy-nilly because we're fucking ourselves over if we ever want to get out of here. We're losing our memories. And so people start shifting their personality, shifting their the way they live inside that world, and it kind of leads into the discussion of different ways to deal with your fellow man, essentially. So it's interesting. I don't necessarily want to experience it, but like it is an interesting concept.
I like that. That's interesting. The way that this isn't really a spoiler. The way respawning is done in the land is they, like a video game, like lose a little bit of their XP essentially.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, they'll, when they come back and open up their HUD in their vision, which they do, which all of the characters can do, things will have changed. The main character is a little different, but that is a spoiler. So if anyone wants to read it, I'll let that go. That would be nice. I mean, like I would love to read, honestly, like, the Matt and Tuan stuff, whatever. But I would really like to read the Tam joining the Ilioner companions, like when he was a kid, when he ran away from the Tourists. Like that would be a fun book.
Yep, I would want to do that. Then the third
mainly
one
because I would love to see him become a Blade Master, like how that happened.
Yeah. That I wouldn't mind the Outrigger novels and go in that, but I think it's always funny whenever I hear the arguments that Matt and Tuan would deconstruct the Shan-Chan Empire and the slavery practices, because I think people forget that
there's no evidence of that from the book.
There's no evidence of that from the books between 1 and 10, and between 1 and 10, Matt sucks, man. Matt sucks when it comes to his concept and ideas of channelers.
There you go.
So, like, if they go back to Shan-Chan, maybe he'll be like, whoa, this is way too much, buddy. I can't handle this. He'll be locked up at the very least.
So we'll go full Wheel of Time spoilers for a minute. We're not going to spoil the ending or anything like that, but just specifically for Matt and Tuan. There's a scene with Matt where, and it's the scene that broke me for Matt. Like, this is, I no longer enjoy Matt. And it was when Tuan collars two Aes Sedai when they're in Val and Luca's wagons, when two Aes Sedai kind of barge into Tuan. And she gets really excited at the prospect of having two new Damane. And Matt, you're in Matt's perspective, and he's looking at Tuan, and she's smiling because she's happy. And he thinks to himself, not, oh God, this is horrible. He's collared these two women, unwillingly, like they didn't want to do this. And now he's going to treat them like animals and enslave them. No, his thought is, wow, she's never looked more beautiful than right now.
Yeah.
That's his thought. So I was like, all right, Matt.
Yeah. Matt's a terrible person. Like, just because he's on
that's why he's not the dragon. That's why he's not the dragon.
But
that's the argument that I love to make for Matt and Perrin. They're great characters in that they have their failings, because that is why they're not the dragon. Like, any of them could have been the dragon. Perrin isn't, because he isn't willing to make that sacrifice.
Yeah.
Rand would sacrifice every single one of his women or anyone to save the world if the need called for it. Himself and anybody, any single person, it wouldn't matter to him, because it's to save all of everything, where Perrin would let the world burn for Fayu. And again, not saying that that's like a terrible notion, because if I was put in that situation, I'd probably be Perrin. And Matt got his failings that do actually make me dislike him as a character, but they're good writing, I feel. But yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I just always find it funny whenever I see arguments about that. Like, oh yeah, they would just no, they wouldn't. No, they wouldn't. That's why there's
already in shambles.
Yeah, but it's like no, they wouldn't. Like they would not.
There's no evidence.
They would go back and they would twist it to where it's like, well, the ones who can learn the channel are the ones who benefit our society. So as Soldom, and that's totally fine. It's okay. Like that's the deconstruction of everything. Like that's how they evolve. That's it.
There's potential for her to learn from her ways, but like it is not evident in what we get on screen in the books at all. Like that is not the direction she
which is what the little bit snippet that they have is that Perrin is going there to confront a friend, right? That's literally what's going to happen. Is like he's going there because he's like, Matt, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah,
like,
I honestly think that he was on his way there to kill Matt.
Yeah, like, I wouldn't think that he's doing that, but I think he's going there to confront Matt.
And ultimately, if it had to come to it, I feel like Perrin would kill him.
Probably. But I think probably the story would lead to Matt probably gets in over his head and then like is like locked up in the Tower of Midnight, and that leads to like an adventure to free Matt, and then like a Sean Chan overthrow. Maybe 2-1 was also captured into that, etc. But like, they but like overall,
very problematic, Tuan and Matt, and
based on what we have, like Matt and Tuan are just they serve their purposes, and we're good, and I'm done. I'm happy with what we got.
Totally agree with that. So just to get back, obviously, so you said the Log Horizons portrayal of the afterlife. We got on a tangent into what? Who knew that would happen?
Who knew that would happen?
Yeah, I blame Rapunzel for posing the idea.
I never blame Rapunzel for anything. Rapunzel is perfect, and they can do no wrong.
But yeah, that was I got to check out Log Horizons now.
It's a lot of fun. Second season is a little slower than the first.
What's it on?
It is, it used to be on Hulu, and I don't know if it's on there anymore, but I think it is on Crunchyroll. So
never happens. We ended up talking about Domino's for like 20 minutes with reverse BLT or pizza in general.
I thought you meant like Domino's the game.
No. I do love Domino's. I used to play the shit.
I used to play that as a kid. So
yeah, me too. I used to play. We used to hang out in a park near where I used to play football when I was like pre-high school, and all the guys there, they were all playing dominoes in the park. So I picked up playing that and spades, and I learned that's how I learned to play spades and dominoes. But anyway, thank you for coming and hanging out.
Absolutely.
Is there? Oh, put the spoiler tag back up. Yes. Well, I took it down because we were doing a full spoiler, but now we're doing no spoilers. So I'll leave that up. Or no more Wheel of Time spoilers for the rest of the show. I wanted to. Yes, pizza is delicious, and now I want some pizza.
Pizza is delicious. Yes.
Actually, I think tomorrow I'll be making pasta. I make a homemade sauce. So I'll be that starts at about 9:00 in the morning. So I think that's my tomorrow mission. We'll be making pasta sauce for Aaron and I. I love to cook. I'm the cook in the house. Well, the food cook. Aaron bakes because I can't bake. Baking is too much of a science, and I can't do that. Well, it's not that it's too much of a science. It's too precise, and I don't do precise. I have to cook by feeling and let my ancestors tell me when the seasoning is correct.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. When the stuff is like, no, you need a little more. Yeah,
exactly.
You
can't do that with baking.
No, you
do a little bit too much yeast in the bread, and it's not gonna. Or you put a little too much or a little too not enough baking, so like you ruin the whole thing. So yeah, I can't do that. There's too much math. Exactly. There's too much math. Too much baking, and I can't do it.
That's why you pay people to bake.
Yeah, it's science for hungry. Or in my, I pay Erin with the pasta. Like I make the food, and then Erin makes the dessert. I make the main course, and Erin makes the dessert, and that's really why we got married. And now, anyway, I want to thank everyone for hanging out, and Morshadi, thank you for coming and joining me. I'm gonna do if anyone is not watching on Twitch. Just for today, I want to do this fun thing for Beth. Let's everyone who isn't watching on Twitch right now, if you have a Twitch account, I don't want to make anyone go make accounts. If you don't want to, go ahead and go over to the Dragon Mount Twitch, which is, I'll put in chat here. We are at Dragon Mount Com on Twitch, because the person that has Dragon Mount never is inactive and hasn't been active in years, and Twitch won't give us the damn handle. So we're gonna go. Bastards. I know, it's very, very frustrating. We're gonna raid Beth's channel with our whoever we have over on Twitch. So yeah, if you're not already on Twitch, go over onto our Twitch and just hang out for a few minutes, and then go and we'll check out Beth's stream for a few minutes. But before we do that, I just want to, one more thing is for next week's show, we're going to have the lovely Gerald L. Coleman, who, if you've been watching a bunch of my rewatches, you'll have seen him once or twice before. He is a fantastic person. He's a great author. He's also a philosopher and a poet. He's got a very big, beautiful, wrinkly brain. And I like to poke at it and to see what comes out of it. So if you like any of those things, come and hang out with us next week. But also, we're going to be obviously watching the episode of Avatar. So if you're just coming for that, that's fine too. So I posted Gerald's website in our chat, so you can check him out there. Great writer as well. Like I love he released a book of poems that's also kind of like a autobiography a little bit of himself, that's called On the Black Hand Side, and it's fantastic. I absolutely loved it, so you should check it out. But anyway, we're gonna do the raid now. So you said I type /raid, and then at
space. No, yeah, it's space and then at Beth. Yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to do that over on Twitch. So if you're watching us over on Twitch, you're going to lose us because we're going to go over there. But if you have multiple windows open, we'll hang out here for another minute before I say goodbye. But we're going to do the raid now. Let's see what happens. Oh, it says invalid username at Beth Doman.
Yeah, you maybe just need to just do
not the @ sign.
Not the @ sign, yeah.
Okay, so /raid, just Beth Doman.
Yeah.
Okay. See, this is me never doing things on Twitch before. Here we go. Yay!
You'll have to be in the Twitch itself.
Yeah, to actually see it. Yeah. But we just did it, so it should be going now. That's fun. I hope she sees us. So next week we'll have Gerald Coleman hanging out with us, and we'll see what his answers are, what his desired afterlife is, I guess. And I got to check out Log Horizons in the meantime.
Indeed.
Yeah. So again, thank you everyone for joining us. Thank you, Morshadi, and we'll see people next week.
Yeah, no problem. Talk to you later.